Welcome back to another episode of Wicked Darkness. I'm Kathy, and tonight I have Kevin.
Hello, everybody.
I got Renee.
Hi.
And I have Denny.
Hello.
All right, guys. So last time we talked about Cecil Hotel and its little tie-in with Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker. Another one that this man was like, there is no
Very
rhyme or
prolific.
reason with him.
Yeah. And an array of types of people.
Yes. Like
Children,
normally,
women,
yeah.
adults. Yeah, it just didn't matter.
No, and it's like most serial killers, they have like a particular type that they go after.
Right, a pattern.
He didn't care. Like
No.
this was one sick son of a bleep on this whole thing.
I think it was just opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know, it didn't seem like there was any rhyme or reason to it to begin with.
No.
So, all right. So let's dive into Richard. So Richard Ramirez, February 29th, 1960 in El Paso, Texas. He raped, murdered, and was a burglar in California from 1984 to 1985. And he killed at least 13 people. He was convicted and sentenced to death, but he did ultimately die in prison. He is the youngest of 5 children born to a Mexican immigrant, and it says that when he was 12, a cousin who was in Vietnam came back and showed him pictures of women, Vietnamese women, who he allegedly raped, tortured, and killed. Like, why would you? Why would you show a 12-year-old kid that? I don't understand that. And then following year, so he's now 13, he witnessed his cousin fatally shooting his cousin's wife. What the heck is wrong with this family? He dropped out of high school. He moved to LA, and that's where, he started off stealing cars and stuff like that, and, burglar. And it looks like in June of 1984, he committed his first murder, rape, and stabbing of 79-year-old widow. I don't understand this man. And this continued all the way until like August of 85. So, okay, Renee, we're going to go back to you. You're from LA.
Yes.
And so you were around this time when all this was happening. How much I know that you're probably about 10 or so years old at that point?
10, 11. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember any of this?
Oh yeah. It's one of those things that's ingrained in your memory. It's one of those core memories that you have. Only
I'm
because
sorry, that's not a core memory that you should have.
One of the many weird core memories that I have. But yeah, with that, when the murders, and they were talking on the news about the Night Stalker and how it was mainly women that he was attacking. My mom, we lived with my grandparents at the time, in East Los Angeles. Ironically, a little ways down from where he was captured.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, I just remember it was in the summer, and it was like a hot summer. And even though our house had bars on the windows, we still closed our windows, and we didn't have air conditioning. And so it was stifling hot in the house. And that's mainly what I remember. And I was upset at him, at the Night Stalker, because I couldn't play outside at night. And, my mom made us come in at, before nighttime, and we had to stay close to the house. We couldn't go anywhere. It was just everybody was on edge, because there was no pattern really. And I think it was just, who was he going to take next? What was going to happen next,
Right.
And so there was this fear in the area, you know, of him.
Because he ended up taking like a 6-year-old girl from her bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
like out the window, and she went with him because he reminded her of a family member, and so she thought it was okay. She thought that was a family member, and okay, we're just gonna go for a ride. And then she found out later on this isn't a family member. This guy's playing. He's gonna hurt me, and he
Yeah.
did. I mean, he raped her. 6 years old. So I can understand why your mom is like, I don't care. We're closing everything down. We're locking it up.
Yeah.
Because it didn't matter if you were a kid or you're a grown adult. He went after like 70, 80-year-old women. This man he went all the way across the whole spectrum. He didn't care.
Right.
And I don't know. I watched that documentary too of him. And they had like this picture of him, but I don't think that picture looked anything like that guy. When you look at it now, it's like, I know it's a composite of what the witnesses saw, but I don't know how they found this person, with this composite. And then he didn't stay in LA. He went up to San Francisco too. And he killed a husband and wife, I think it was, up there.
Right.
And that was the thing too. It didn't matter. Like he would kill the husband and then he would, rape and mutilate the wife. And there's only like one girl. Did you hear about the one girl that her roommate got killed?
Mm-hmm.
But she was able to make it out alive. Did you hear how she made it out? It was,
I remember.
she had her hands up, like he came out of the apartment, like she thought, okay, I heard something happen in my apartment. She saw a hat in the garage. She heard a noise. She ran out and she thought, okay, maybe if I go to the front door, he'll go out the back door and I can go in and check on my roommate. Well, he came out the front door and it was kind of like deer in headlights, like, oh my God, type thing, But before that, she was in the garage. He started to come out. She put her hands up. She had her keys in her hand and he shot at her and it hit her key and bounced off. She flew back. That's when she came to, ran around, ran to the front, and he came out the front door and saw her again. And that's why I said the deer in a headlight type thing. And she's like, are you really going to kill or shoot me again? You shot me once. You're really going to try this again. And that's when he put the gun down and ran off. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And her roommate, she was like in her 20s, I think it was. And the girl, they had like this, not an island in their kitchen, but something similar to it. And she put her hands up on the island. And he was on the other side with his gun pointing towards her, just waiting for her to pop her head up. And that's when he popped her in the head. And that's when she got killed. And then he had a specific shoe type that he was wearing. And that's what they were going off of, is this shoe type. So what was the feeling for your mom? Obviously you might have talked with your mom about that. What was her feeling? I mean, besides you guys locking everything up at night, your mom and your grandparents, they must have been terrified.
Yeah. It was, like I said, it was an uneasy feeling. The communities that he was, that he committed his murders were, Rosemead, Monterey Park, which where we lived, they weren't very far. They were pretty close, maybe 10, 15-minute drive. LA, a lot of the cities butt up against each other. And so you go from one to the other, just, from one street over, Okay. And so there was a lot of fear. And it being the summer, all the kids are outside, everybody's playing. I mean, this was back in the 80s. So, it was get out at the, in the morning and then don't
Be
come
back
back
when
until
daylight came on.
absolutely, that's kind of how it was,
Right.
and, my mom was extra cautious going to work. She worked in downtown. And so being by herself, driving to work, again, extra cautious when she got home. My
Mhm.
grandpa would meet her outside. He'd wait outside till she got home and walk her in the house. So there was this change in our routine, and so it was a very pronounced change. And so up until he was caught. And then it was like this sigh of relief when he was caught.
And you said he was caught not too far away from where you lived.
Yeah, yeah.
He was caught by the civilians, the city,
hmm
like the community found him because was he trying to steal a car?
Yeah, he pretty much chose the wrong neighborhood, you know.
And they kind of like beat him
Yeah,
because when they
beat the
caught
crap
him,
out of
he
him.
had like his head was wrapped and everything. And but that must have been a sigh of relief for you guys at
Oh
that
yeah.
point.
Oh yeah.
How long after that did it take your family and your friends and neighbors to get back to normal life?
Probably a few days, It was like, okay, he's caught, and it was watching it on the news when he was being, you know, brought out in the police car and taken to jail, and was okay, he's there, he's in jail. And so it's done,
Did it seem like the community came together closer after that then?
I think so. Even like during the when he was still out, when they couldn't find him, they were trying to find him. A lot of the neighbors looked after, the kids. They were making sure the kids were staying close, and everybody kind of looked after each other. And I think that kind of stayed with the neighborhood afterwards.
Mhm.
Just everybody looking after the kids, because obviously my grandma couldn't keep an eye on 5 kids. There was, my cousins were there too, because again, it was during the summer, and so we were all there. And so we all played in groups, and so there's you know safety in numbers kind of thing.
Right,
you
right.
know
I couldn't even imagine. I mean, I know what it was like when Dahmer did his stuff here and how everybody felt, but he was specific to a community.
right.
And it wasn't where it was like there wasn't rhyme or reason. I mean, he stuck to a certain kind of community. Um but Richard was just like all over. And you
Very
didn't know if
random.
you were going
Yeah.
to die at his hand or just get robbed. You had no idea. And then he, like we said before, he stayed at the Cecil Hotel during this whole thing too. So, I mean, at the time, Cecil Hotel, they were finding people dead, from drug overdose or suicide, no matter what. So was he able to do any of that at the Cecil Hotel and get away with it as well? I mean, honestly, don't really know because there was so much going on at the time. I don't know if they actually truly looked at the Cecil that way. But
I don't remember if they did or not. I know, as far as him hiding out, it was perfect place at
right.
that time. you know
So there could be more murders that we don't know about. And now I just started a whole conspiracy. I'm sorry. Because you just, I mean, thinking about it, there's all those people, Skid Row right there and everything. It's like, fish in a
Opportunity
barrel type
Avenue.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody's gonna think twice. They're not gonna say anything,
Some people might
Those,
not report them missing, or I mean, a lot of these people just don't have families. So yeah, you never know.
right. But then, so the cops kept finding this shoe print, finding it like in the dirt, on the front porches, or on the steps going into the patio. They even found it like on a quilt type thing. they're finding it all over the place. And then he goes up to San Francisco, and the LA Sheriff Department, because it was in the county that was taking care of it, not the city. So it wasn't LAPD. It was the Sheriff Department. So they flew up to San Francisco to look at things that had happened up there. And then the San Francisco mayor, she just blabs everything out during one of her news conferences. Tells them everything. Oh, there's writing on the wall because he was a Satan worshiper, and so he's got, or had, I should say, a tattoo on his hand of a pentagram, and there was pentagrams that were carved into the walls, kind of like Manson and stuff like. She just told everybody everything. Oh, and there's a shoe print, and this is the type of shoe that they're looking for, and I can understand why. The sheriff department of LA was just like, are you freaking kidding me? Like,
Yeah, because I believe he ended up checking the shoes.
yeah, they never found the shoes. But I don't even remember how the neighborhood ever figured out that this was him either. I don't know if it was just because, he was stealing a car and they're like, we're not having this, or he had bad teeth. That was one of the things that he was known for. Smelled really bad. His hair is all wild and everything. But it was, the whole thing, it ended up August 30th, 1985. 6 days after his last known murder, he was named and photographed, and that was released to the public. And the following day, a man in East LA saw him, notified the police. A chase ensued. Ramirez tried to steal a car and was surrounded by the crowd that beat him until the cops showed up. Good for you guys. Good for you. And then the other thing was he had an AC/DC hat too that he always was wearing. That was a big thing that they were looking at. So he goes to trial. They find him guilty. These poor families are just trying to figure out why would you do this to us? What did my grandparents do? My parents do? My sister, my brother, my child, what did they ever do to you? There was no reason for it. So they're left trying to pick up the pieces. And, he ends up getting committed to San Quentin. And he gets to San Quentin. Did you know he got married there?
Yes, and I thought, when I first saw the documentary and started to learn more about Richard, I thought, oh, the Satanism thing was just a gimmick, right? Something to divert or glorify attention, right? It's kind of hard to tell what he liked the most, but it's certainly the attention. But his wife, I believe in an interview, said that Richard didn't have a gold ring because, or was it? There was something about one of the medals that he couldn't wear because he was a Satanist. So he kind of went to his grave, living on that podium that he was a Satanist.
I did see something about that too. Now that you mention that, there was something about him wearing the gold or whatever. But you know what his wife did for a living before they got married? You remember the magazine, the teen magazine, Teen Beat?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was the editor for it. You know how many of those
really?
magazines I put up on my wall
I was gonna
as a teenager? Like,
Billions of copies sold.
Yeah.
I'm like, this woman married this man who killed all these people, and I put her pictures that she had done up on my walls in my bedroom.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, she was the editor of Teen Beat in the late 80s or late 70s, early 80s. And so yeah, my Michael Jackson ones and all that,
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, those are Duran. They're all up there on my walls. And she was also friends with John Stamos from Full House. She actually helped him become a celebrity. She kind of found him and everything. And so he was like, she was a very lonely woman, and I don't know why she would do this, because this isn't something that she would normally do. And on top of that, she is also a twin.
Hmm.
Imagine your sister married a serial killer, but oh yeah, I look like my sister. So,
Yeah, Satanist serial killer.
and they're identical. That poor woman, she's just like,
Probably went into hiding.
right. I mean, and then, he had lots of women, because I don't know what is wrong with these people. Sorry, people that are listening, that, you find these men attractive or whatever, or these women that are in prison. I don't know what your deal is. Please don't do that. Go to the bar or something. Find something. Go to a festival. Don't go behind bars to find the love of your life. It's not good. It's not going to end well. But that's what she did. She sent like 75 different letters, and she would go visit him on a regular basis. She loved him wholeheartedly, and that's what made her stick out to him versus the other women who were sending him pictures and, a couple letters or whatever. So they started having a thing, and she actually wanted to have children with him.
Mm.
Why? Do you not know the family history? It's not positive at all. I mean, this kid probably could come out and probably stab you to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, she says that at the time, she's like, I believe that he is innocent. He didn't do any of this. I believe him wholeheartedly as being, a good guy. He was just, framed for all this stuff. And no, honey, he did it.
Quite the stretch.
Right. Apparently the reason that, Richard supposedly is the way that he is that his father used to be abusive towards him and beat him, and he had sustained multiple head injuries as a child. And then of course his cousin showed him the pictures or whatever, and this woman thinks that everything is okay. He's the love of her life, and he is just going to take care of her. How is he going to take care of you when he is behind bars? I don't get it. But she thought, yeah, she's like, people are going to call me crazy, stupid, lying. I'm none of those. I believe in him completely. In my opinion, and this is quote unquote, there was far more innocent or evidence to convict OJ than we'll know that ever turned out for him. Are you kidding me? Really? You were an editor. You're an educated woman. You ended up getting a degree, and you're saying that Ramirez is more innocent than OJ? I am not giving OJ any kind of, you're above all that. I know the man just passed away not too long ago, but he's allegedly killed 2 people. This guy killed 13, raped them, murdered them.
Mutilated.
I don't care if the guy didn't fit into the glove or whatever. This guy fit into this shoe. It happened. So yeah, they got married on October 3rd, 1996. The prisoner staff secured a visiting room, and the couple were allowed to get married. And of course, his victims were like, are you kidding me? No, he should not be able to get married. But unfortunately, they were overruled. And here's the gold band. So she bought a gold band for herself and a platinum one for him, since he had already explained to her that Satanists don't wear gold. That's what that gold one was.
Interesting.
So he had a platinum ring. And then the pastor so then they had, with the vending machines lining the walls and plastic chairs bolted to the ground and seemingly traditional wedding was underway, the pastor removed the line, "Until death do you part." from the official proceeding. He said
Good
that
grief.
it would be in bad form to say that here on death row. Oh my gosh. So, and she ended up actually separating from him. Before he died in 2013. And all of a sudden she's like, oh my gosh, I had an epiphany. They found DNA and it's his DNA, because now DNA is a thing.
Right.
Back then it wasn't. And it was for a 9-year-old that he had raped back then. And then she's like, I can't say that it's not his.
Yeah.
So after that, she refused to visit him. But then on top of that, he refused to have any visitors himself. So she said, it'd be hard for me to understand if my best friend came to me and said, you know, this guy, Timothy McVeigh, who just got convicted, I really think he's cute and I'm going to write to him. I mean, I would think that that's kind of strange. Dramatic pause. Really? And then, you know, she wanted to have 5 or 6 children with him and everything. But, you know, like I said, they never had children. Her dream was replaced with a different dream, which was being with Richard. Oh, that's a big heart. Big red heart. I love Richard. That's all I see in that. And then their relationship most likely ended because of the DNA that was found from the 9-year-old in 1984. And that was too much for her. And they found that evidence in 2009. So from 2009 to 2013, they stopped communicating. And they never really got a divorce. They don't, in his obituary, it did not include a mention of a divorce, but apparently she's still technically married to him. And then he ended up dying of complications from lymphoma, from B-cell lymphoma in 2013. And then she had slinked back into like the corners of the darkness that she possibly could, because, you know, she found out that she was married to a serial killer. And then on top of that, the prison, so he dies, you know, and not by lethal injection or anything like that. He dies of lymphoma. So they have a body. And what happens with the body? You have to call the next of kin. She's the next of kin because she's married to him. And nobody claimed it. They cremated his body and no one ever came to collect his ashes.
Interesting.
So I don't know if his ashes are still in San Quentin. But she's like, no, I don't want it. I'd be like, can I have the platinum ring back? I want to go to the pawn shop and get my money for it. Or give that money to the family or something like that, you know, whatever you got to do. Because I'm an idiot and I should have listened to my friend, but my friends weren't very convincing at the time. Maybe, you know, read your own magazine, Teen Beat, put the pictures up on the walls, fall in love with those people that you can never attain. Because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just putting a picture up on the wall. Guys behind
A non-murdering
bars.
celebrity, though.
You know, they probably have some kind of magazine about that too. Here's your
Probably.
murdering celebrity. She probably could like actually write it herself since she did Teen Beat, so maybe that's her next project. I don't know. I don't know where
And
she
serial
is.
killer.
Right.
Ooh, look at that centerfold. I don't know. I feel bad for the families. I mean, I really do. And I don't know how, and I'm very sorry that that is a core memory. That is a horrible core memory for you.
It is a horrible core memory.
But, you know, it's I mean, you lived through a lot of stuff in LA at the time. I mean, when you think about it, everything that was happening,
Yeah.
you were like right in the center of all that stuff, including
Yeah.
OJ stuff. So, I mean,
Yeah. LA riots,
yeah.
everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there was a lot of history between, the time I, growing up there with, the Night Stalker, OJ Simpson trial, the LA riots, Rodney King, the numerous earthquakes that happened during that time. So yeah, there was a lot that went on.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so we're in Southeast Wisconsin area, and there's not a lot of things that happen here. The closest that we came to LA is our riots that we had in 2020, which was scary enough, and that's nothing compared to what you guys had. You guys had a lot. I mean, they burned my hometown, yeah, but mine were a couple of blocks versus yours were blocks on top of blocks on top of blocks in different parts of city. I mean, LA is huge, and that's LA itself, not talking about LA County.
Right.
I mean, that's even bigger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and LA County encompasses a lot of different cities. So you have core city of Los Angeles, and then you have the surrounding cities that are part of LA County. And yeah, LA County is pretty big. So, which is why a lot of the cities that he committed those murders were part of LA County. Arcadia, Arcadia, was it Monterey Park? I think Glendora was one of them. Alhambra, maybe. And so those are all considered LA County.
And then didn't you guys have like a copycat of his too around there?
I think so.
I want to say there was a copycat.
There was like one or two murders, right? And they thought that it was part of it.
Jack Unterweger or something like that.
Yeah.
Murdered 3 prostitutes.
Okay, yeah.
While staying at the Cecil. Did I not say that there was something that happened at the Cecil?
Oh,
He probably saw Richard in the hallway and go, it's on to something.
Yeah. A lot of history.
I mean, you lived through a lot of history of the U.S. in this time period. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, the only thing that, besides the riots that happened in Kenosha, and then things that happened in Milwaukee too, the only thing that was close to that for all of us to experience was 9/11.
Right.
So 80s, 90s, and 2000s were rough for all of us. More rough for you because you had to live through all that and, sweltering heat and all that. I mean, I can't even imagine. I thought my husband and I were talking about when I was little, my dad didn't put air conditioning in my house. So I had a fan and a towel, and that was my air conditioning. But then my son came along, and all of a sudden my dad changed my room into the nursery, and all of a sudden there's an air conditioner. I'm like, what the heck, Dad? Like, I lived here for, my entire life up into that point, and now my kid comes along and he gets an air conditioner, and your own kid didn't get an air conditioner. You're fine, honey. You had a towel and a fan. It was wet. You were cold. It worked.
We would put a bowl of ice in front of the fan.
There you go.
We did that when we were camping too.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of hit everything for Richard as well. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else that we could talk about with regards to him. I mean, I don't want to go into details about the families, because I don't want to bring that up for them. That's too much. It's too close too.
Yeah.
It's too much. In respect for what they had to go through, we won't talk about those people. Just know that, unfortunately they had to suffer as much as they did. at the hands of a lunatic. And then there was a lunatic that married the lunatic, unfortunately. So hopefully they're able to find peace and they've moved on. I mean, it's been almost 40 years now for them. It'll be 40 years next year, actually, right?
Yeah, that's right. 85.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a while ago, but it's still tender in their heart, you know.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Absolutely.
they find peace. And hopefully whoever was killed at the Cecil has found peace as well. And on that note, I think we'll call it a night and say goodbye. And I appreciate you guys coming on again with us, like every time that we do this. Renee, good luck with your future surgery this week.
Oh yeah, thank
We're
you.
gonna positive thoughts coming
Be
towards you.
praying for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Because we want you back out so we can get some investigations under the belt with you.
Heck yeah. Let's
I
go.
just want your old knee. Just, ask them to put it in a jar for me.
Right? I got you, Kevin. I got you.
Put it in my oddities section over here.
We
Yeah,
just
there
throw
you
them
go.
out anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
They don't need it.
Nah,
Nothing creepy about that.
Right.
absolutely
Going into
not.
his museum. He's got a museum going on there.
The
Let's
little
go,
one.
let's
Yeah.
go.
And then also congratulations on your grandson being born today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that is amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of positives coming your way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for our skeptics, keep us grounded, and for our believers, keep us believing. I'm Kathy. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys.